Welcome back, my friends, to the Predictive Playbook. I'm your host, John Ryan, as you probably already know. But I have a special debut taking place today. It is Don Buster. He's the founder of Buster Sports. He goes by the name of Buster, so don't ever call him Don. It's like Johnny Detroit. You just call him Mr. Detroit. But anyway, welcome to the show, Don. And before we get started here, I want to show the recent trends here, which are outstanding. And then I also want to give a little profile of you, a little background for the people watching this show for the first time and getting to know you, because that's what's very important to do in a debut. So Buster Sports has been avidly breaking down and analyzing North American sports for over 30 years, has a bachelor's degree in international business and a lifetime of experience dealing with and working with sports books and casinos all over the world. He's a former bookmaker of 20 years and has a long-standing history of pinpointing live dogs, which I personally love. I can't wait to hear more about that. And value-based favorites in the NFL, college football, and hoops. So that includes the NBA, college basketball, and NHL. So he covers the gauntlet of professional sports and NCAA sports as well. So now, welcome to the show, Buster. How's everything going for you?
Well, John, thanks a lot for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm hoping that we can make this a regular occasion on Thursdays. I know I can for this month of June, but then we head back to Canada. I currently for the viewers here, I currently live in Mexico 9 months of the year, but I'm originally from Canada, and we go back 3 months of the year to see friends. I still have my mother just turned 80 this year, and so she's still alive and yeah, actually a spring chicken, still driving all her girlfriends around, doing everything and got her COVID shot, so she's all good to go for probably another 20 years. So
that's awesome to hear.
And John, I really appreciate you having me. I know you've been after me a couple of times. Life down in Mexico is just a little different. I live here right on a beach, and and I do a lot of my handicapping at night. And, so I'm spending 6 or 7 hours late at night and early in the mornings, and the afternoons are a little tough to get me. But hopefully I can come on maybe next week and maybe even join you guys on the Manny's Pub Show too. That would be nice. So again, thanks for having me, and we'll talk a little sports here.
Yeah, that's great. And you will be as a regular guest on this show. And the plan is to have you on every Thursday, late morning times on Eastern Standard Time, East Coast USA, and then have you on in the afternoon on Manny's Pub, which is a virtual pub, of course, where we've created an environment where guys like us just show up. We know we're going to see our buddies, and we get done our jobs, and we go down and talk sports betting strategies. We've had Las Vegas Chris on several times, and me being a machine learning analytical guy, Las Vegas Chris and I can get off the rails in about a tenth of a second. But for those that don't know him, he came in second and fifth last year in the 3,500 entry Circa NFL contest. And it's kind of neat that he has his two checks sitting behind him whenever he comes on the board. And I love it because, Tony Finn mainly keeps mentioning, like, Chris, did you ever find that check from the Circa? And of course, it's sitting right behind him. But you have to see the show. It's a lot more funny in person than me describing it.
Well, I do watch it, John. Like I said, I'll catch it at night. Like I'll catch the repeat of it. And again, Chris, when I was down in April in Vegas, sat out, went with him and Brian Leonard and Ralph for a couple of pops, and he's got a lot of good stories. Great guy, and really smart when it comes to the NFL. Knows how to play those contests. He's won a lot of those contests. And he's not one of those guys that'll sit and brag. But I'll just speak. I shouldn't be speaking for him, but I will say I know he's a very, very good NFL sports handicapper. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely a guy to follow. Both on Twitter and at WillYourTalk.com, and when I have him on the shows. I mean, it's just I get it too that some people aren't as analytical as he and I might be, and always looking for that edge with the math. But nevertheless, the summary of those shows is extraordinarily valuable to anybody's handicapping. And personally, I think you can't do just fundamental or gut feel certainly, or just do betting systems and angles. It has to be the whole ball of wax. The harder you work, the deeper you dive, the more information you know, the more people you know, the more shows you watch like this one. That you can't help but to have better, more intelligent betting decisions. So that's my take on that.
Yeah. Well, you know what, John? I totally agree with you. All the shows, like I've been with the Wager Talk family since May 2016, and the whole premise was to get a lot of these shows to teach gambling, to teach people the proper way to gamble. Whether you listen to us or not, that's your choice at the end of the day, because you're putting your own money down. So depending on what you want to play, that's up to you. But if we just try to help, like I do the Puck Time show once a week with the guys. It's an NHL hockey show, and that's all it's about. People will say, yeah, we don't like the way you bet, Buster. Well, that's fine. I'm just giving you another way to look at the game.
Yep.
Right. And I am an underdog bettor. I've said this for years, and at Major League Baseball and in NHL especially, I will never lay anything more than 160. Now, I know a lot of guys are successful laying those big high numbers. I don't know, however I was taught from a very young age, like when I was 18, 19 years old, when I've been gambling ever since and taking book on the other side as well. I just learned that it's a bad business to be laying 200, 180, 190. And it just, at the end of the day, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and you'll go broke quick betting those big favorites.
No question. I mean, simple math tells you lose one -200 favorite in the NHL or Major League Baseball or any sport betting the money line at -200. You have to win 3 in a row just to show a profit. You have to win 2 in a row to get even. And
right.
It's just, you're digging yourself a hole that gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and sooner or later the hole's so deep that you can't possibly get out of it. So great advice for the listeners here. I know you want to talk about NHL here, and time permitting, we'll get into a little of the NBA playoffs, which is becoming very exciting, and then
that's great.
A little 1 or 2 minutes on the some insights on the PGA event taking place at Memorial, which is right up my wheelhouse, that's for sure. I love golf, but first things first. Rotation 1 and 2 on the betting board is Boston at New York Islanders. Boston is a road favorite here. It looks like the opening of the total was 5.5, getting plus 120 money to bet the over. Some places have it over 5, minus 120. That's a discussion which one is better for another time. But
we could have a long discussion about that, couldn't we, John? So I agree. We could put that for maybe a total show, maybe one time down the road.
Absolutely, that's a Manny's Pub conversation.
Oh, of course it is. Yep. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So in this matchup, I think this is one of the big time matchups that we have going in the NHL, and it looks like the betting market is saying Boston is the better team here, and this is Game 3, so we're getting along here in the best of 7 series, and this is obviously a pivotal game, as would be Game 5. So I'm interested to hear your take on this, Buster, and who you kind of like in this game tonight.
Well, actually, John, I actually put out. I actually have a 5% play tonight in NHL, so just put that out there. But I will give you what I put out for a free play in this, and that is I have the Islanders for the first period on the money line. The money line, you're getting plus 110. And the reason why I like this is because in that second game, the Islanders are up 3-1. They turn around and they give up the lead, gets 3-3, but they win in overtime. So now that momentum is huge going back, and they're playing at Nassau Coliseum. Well, Nassau Coliseum, anybody that's been there, which I have, I actually was lucky enough to go when the great one was playing. I went and seen a New York Islanders game, Los Angeles Kings, one time at Nassau Coliseum. And that place is going to be crazy tonight because they put it up to, I believe, 12,000 fans are allowed to be in that arena. And I think they have the momentum for that first period. I actually gave out New York Islanders at, I think they were minus, it might have been even, or I can't remember, minus 110. The numbers escape me at this moment. Plus 1.5 games for the series. I actually thought the Islanders would play them tough, and they have played them tough so far. Now they get a couple of games at home where the Islanders have been very, very good on home ice. And like I say, now they're at the Coliseum. So I'm looking for another good effort. It's going to be another tight game. But it wouldn't surprise me if this doesn't go back to Boston tied 2-2 at all. And maybe, who knows? Because everybody loves Boston. That's another thing, too. Everybody's betting Boston. Boston's minus. And as we both know, we've been doing this long enough, John, to know that when everybody's on one side, that other side tends to have a little bit more value than the value that's already there.
Yep, I can't agree more. And it's seen in the marketplace. I know you've seen some of my tweets on Bitcoin, and
yes.
Now the S&P 500 has actually kicked into a pattern that is not looking so hot short term, but sentiment is overly bullish in the marketplace. It was overly bullish where too many people were saying Bitcoin was going to 200,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we had a correction, and those corrections, shouldn't be viewed as negative. No. It gives some of us a chance to short a market, using the futures. But it was probably a cleansing situation for Bitcoin that potentially does set the stage for a move up to six figures. But you take it one day at a time. And same thing with sports betting. You get like 75 or more % of bets being placed on a team like Boston to win. I immediately start thinking like, wow, who's the other team?
Yeah,
and
right.
Not all the time. It
no.
obviously doesn't work 100% of the time. We wouldn't be, having this show because we'd keep it a secret. But that's a great way for beginning bettors, I think, to begin a breakdown of a game and make sure they're on the side that they want to be on.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know, John, like just for NHL hockey, I'll even go back as far as last year. There was a lot of guys after that first playoff series, the guys that are betting Edmonton at minus 200, minus 180, Toronto betting, 220, and Pittsburgh against my Canadians. And again, it happened this year with Toronto. People are just, they can't lose 3 in a row. And there's guys, I'm sure, that put 220 on Game 7, which we, even a lot of us, even guys that were big Toronto fans said, you know what, that's a game you need to watch, right? You don't want to be laying that kind of money because guess what? It's sports, and they can lose 3 games in a row, and they can lose like that. And I know last year, a lot of people, and I went on Puck Time and pleaded with people saying, you know what, please do not lay these big favorites. It's the playoffs. Playoffs are a really strange animal. And I've seen way too many situations in the past where goaltending saves the day. And you're seeing that right now, even just with my Canadians winning again last night in a game that they, probably, I think they ended up minding, like everybody had Winnipeg. Everybody was touting Winnipeg. I, of course, just left the game because I try to stay out of Montreal playoff games. I will bet them and against them in the regular season, but for the most part, NHL playoffs. It's if you haven't watched an NHL game, now that the pandemic is starting to get better, like where people can start going to games, I strongly suggest spending your hard-earned money for an entertainment value to just go watch one live. Because it is a fantastic sport to watch live. And I have a lot of friends that have told me that, that didn't like, that I've never watched hockey. I can't follow the puck. I can't. And they did all kinds of things back in the 80s to, they put a purple light on it and did all kinds of things to try to help grow the game. But the game's really growing now. And you know what helped that, John? We both know sports gambling, because there's a lot of people love betting NHL hockey, and it's frustrating at times, but it's a great sport to bet. And now if you're into those props, stuff like that, there's so many ways to bet. Years ago, it was just like totals and, bet a side or you bet a total. There's no first period total. There's no first period. There's no how many shots on goal a guy was going to get. So there's a lot of ways to bet NHL. And, loving this playoff so far, John. It's been great.
Oh, it is great. And I think I was telling you backstage, with the sentiment, it couldn't have been more negative on the Sixers or some guy named Ben Simmons. And my friends will
Yes.
laugh when I say that because they know that I actually went on Twitter and said, if there was ever a time for him to have a triple double, it's tonight. And it was 5-1 and 6-1 at other places, and
Nice.
he had one.
Yes, yeah, nice. And
Yeah,
he also hit some free throws. They put him on the line there and knocked some free throws down. But it just goes to show you and I talk about this a lot of time in a lot of sports. There's Embiid, he's down, the whole team steps it up, right?
yep,
Whole team picks it up. They're going to pick it up for now. I don't know how well it's going to be interesting if Embiid's not going to be playing against how long he's out. I think I heard something with a knee problem or whatever, that there's a
yep.
little tear. So I don't know if it's a little tear, they throw a cortisone shot in there and he's good to go, or is it more than a little tear? But without him, that Atlanta-Philadelphia series all of a sudden looks like a pretty good series. With him, Philadelphia's looking like a really good club.
Yeah, I agree. And in many ways, I'm glad that they're not playing the Suns like the Lakers are,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that is a very difficult situation without AD in the lineup. Whether he's going to play, we'll have to wait and see. But that LA roster is vastly different than what the Sixers have. And the Sixers have Maxey. I mean, if you watched him play last night, it was like watching a kid play, in a college game or maybe even high school, with that kind of
right.
enthusiasm and energy and the smiles. I mean, you can't help but to like the guy. And he's tough. He gets knocked to the
Yeah,
ground. He's not acting like he's dying. He gets up and shakes it off, and then on with the next play. And I think that's what Doc Rivers has brought to that franchise.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I totally agree, and you see it all the time. Like even last year with that hero for Miami. I mean, the energy when
yep,
these guys and they're hitting 3-pointers and that just only inspires that team. It inspires guys that maybe not play that type of ball to pick up their game as well. So and it's playoff time, so you want to see the best out of these guys. I don't bet a ton of NBA in the regular season just because, especially this year, you didn't even know. It was like half hour before game time, maybe 15 minutes sometimes, where guys are scratching. So it makes it very tough to
yep.
handicap when you're with NBA. But with the playoffs, they're all going to play, so it's great. And everybody's going to give all their effort. So which is good. I like seeing that. I don't like seeing, when Popovich says, "Oh, we're going to sit our three best starters out this game," because it doesn't. I'm maybe an old school guy, John. I'm always for play your guys. There's fans that are paying good money, and it might be that fan. They can maybe only afford one game, and that's that game that you went and saved all your money and you wanted to go see a certain guy plays,
Yep.
and then the coach decides, "Oh, we're going to let them all sit out for this game." I don't know. I
Yeah,
just don't.
that's
I just
I
don't like
agree.
that in any sport, and it happens. This is not NBA basketball. It happens in other sports too. So, anyways, just my thought.
And that's a good point because a little bit off topic, but I remember with the Lakers, scoring 10 points in the second quarter, and a big shout out to Tony Finn for his background uh, that he's been using on the show at Manny's Pub. And if there's even a reason to come watch the show for 5 seconds, I promise you will laugh when you see his background, and it has to do with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And he had it on before that too, so he has an opinion, and
Oh,
it's a pretty
before
strong one.
before the series
Yeah,
started. Oh, really? Okay.
yeah,
I
yeah.
saw it a couple days ago there. Yes.
Yeah, so Charles Barkley really kind of summed it up. I mean, Shaq really came down hard on the Lakers for being weak, no heart, nobody stepped up, and included LeBron with that because I think that's justified. There was no vintage LeBron in that game, and I don't know the reason why, but Barkley had mentioned too that with Anthony Davis getting hurt, Joel Embiid getting hurt pretty much every year, and these big guys are getting hurt,
Yeah.
that maybe the NBA ought to consider shortening the season. But then he also went on to say that probably will never happen because of the money involved. But at some point, the NBA has to make a decision how to do this because at the end of the day, it's those people you described. They save all their money $300 ticket for their kid that's 10 years old, wants to see LeBron play, and all of a sudden he's resting.
Yeah.
I just can't get my hands around that.
And you know what, John, a lot of people can't, right? And that's what I feel bad for, because at the end of the day, the reason why all these guys are making money, besides the TV contracts, but the TV contracts is because we're all watching the TV so we can see the commercials, so we can go buy that product, and we're all, big sports fans anyways, and we all go in and we pay big money to go see these games. And for most of us, we're not doing that all the time. We're getting lucky. Somebody gives us these $300 courtside seats, or 10 rows up, or you take your kid. You gotta, you have a niece or a nephew that wants to go, so you want to take him to the game, and that stuff happens. So there should be something. I'm not sure what they can really do, but it is troublesome, I would have to say, for the fan. That's for sure.
It's a lottery then.
Yeah,
you're buying a lottery ticket in hopes that you're gonna show your kids the game they want to see, and they'll remember the rest of their lives. And instead, they remember the game that so and so didn't show up.
That's sad, right? Because then now, instead of maybe being a LeBron fan and being an NBA fan, now they might go to another sport, which I guess that's fine too. But you want them to be in all kinds of sports, like myself. I played baseball, played football. When I was younger, it was sports, and that's and it's good. It's better to me. And say Buster lives in the past and all that. But point being is, get outside, play some sports, not behind the computer 20 hours a day. It's not can't be good for anybody, really. I know it's not good for me, and I'm behind my computer too much as it is myself, because of just to try to, now there's all these edges where you can find stuff. You used to have to read book after book after book and buy all kinds of publications to break down and do your systems. Now it's all right on the computer. So I get it, but I don't know I tell you the truth, John, I really don't know what these sports can do about sitting these guys out. But again, it would be nice for the fans.
You're teeing it up for me here, and no pun intended, but there is a sport where if the player doesn't play because of injury, they do not get paid, and it's called the Professional Golfers Association, better known as the PGA, and they're at the Memorial Tournament. And before we get to that, I know you watched Kiowa. I've played that course a couple times. Wasn't Phil Mickelson magnificent?
Oh.
I mean, talk about, I still get chills thinking about it. And
I tell you, I'm kind of mad at myself, John. In Canada, I still put in there's all these bars that have these pools and that you can pick as well. And besides just, when it comes to the majors, for years and years and years, I've been all into these pools, betting individual guys, and Phil's my guy. And usually for years, I would just bet him regardless. It wouldn't matter. When a major came up, I just always had, if he was 101, I'd throw $20 on Phil, because in Canada too, I'm a lefty. So I shoot a hockey puck left. I shoot, and I learned how to golf left-handed. So back then there was only Mike Weir, who won the Masters in, I believe it was 83, and Phil Mickelson. So all the time that Phil was getting, I almost felt sorry for Phil back in the day when he wasn't winning any majors and all that. But I tell you, his career has turned around more than 360. I don't know, quadruple 360. And it's always great when you're an old guy and you see a 50-year-old guy win a tournament. And I always say that. I talk with my friends. It is a young man's world. There's no doubt about that this day and age. But it's always nice when those old guys get one.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of the older group, I guess respectfully said, 48-year-old Stuart Sink is playing pretty darn well right now.
Yes, he is.
He's in the field this week. Wondering if you have any thoughts on him. And if not, then share some of your thoughts on the Memorial. You can still bet it even though it's already starting.
Yeah.
It's early, but I can actually, while you're doing the initial review of Stuart Sink, I'll pull up the leaderboard here and I'll give an update on where things are at.
Well, as Sink goes, again, there's another guy that should be playing on the Champions Tour, right? And he's oh no, not yet. He's 48. Did you say?
He's 48, but
I think we got to be 50.
There's no way he will. He'll still play on the tour. He'll play both.
Yeah, like how Phil says. But yeah, Sink is unbelievable. He wins that tournament. I believe, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, and he's playing really well. again, when you go to Muirfield, this course, as you know, they're not going to be lighting it up like they do some of these courses. That's for sure. I haven't took a look at who's winning, but I would gather to guess it's probably -2, -3 lead, and it shouldn't be all that high. You need to be a good ball striker here and keep it out of trouble, like you do in a lot of courses. But there are a lot of courses that you can just spray the ball all over, like guys like DeChambeau and Spieth do. They're all over the place, and they're still getting birdies. So that stuff's not going to work here.
No way.
I actually took as a real long shot, and what I do, John, I actually put up. I have been for probably about a year and a half on my Twitter handle. On my Twitter, I put up long shots and I call them pizza money long shots because every one of them is at least 25, 30 to 1 or above. And one guy I think he doesn't go out till probably 12:30 Eastern, or I think around the midday, I believe, is I took a long shot at Tyler Gooch for at 150 to 1. He's been hanging around. I mean, again, it's tough when you're trying to get one guy, but we've been quite successful. I've had 4 outright winners this year, and it's just the 1st of June. So believe me, I usually get about 4 a year. So I'm quite pleased with how the golf has been going. But I tend to play guys like him, and I see Answers playing overseas somewhere. They paid him a lot of money to play in tournament, but he's another guy that I think is going to eventually break through. Of course, Hovland, he might be a guy that could win here, but again, I think he was like 14 to 1 or something. And a lot of times I might take those guys top 10 and put a little extra money on, but for the most part, if favorites are winning, I don't do well. Although I had Jordan Spieth top 10 last week because I thought he was going to win that tournament right from the get-go, but he was plus 8 to 1 or something. So you're never going to bet that, and I don't care. I'm never going to do that in a golf tournament to have a guy 8 or 9 to 1. I'm just not going to do that. I just don't bet favorites. I know a lot of guys do, and whatever works for you. But I love golf, and actually looking forward to going back and playing some rounds with buddies of mine. I've actually had neck surgery 2 years ago, so I haven't been able to pick up a club for a while. And but yeah, looking forward to getting out, playing a few rounds, and really looking forward to Torrey Pines. As you know, Torrey Pines is coming up, and could lightning strike twice? Phil lives 15 minutes from the course. 15 minutes. How many times has he played that course? And I'll give you an example. Like I know it's probably a real shitty example, but I used to have a membership at a course. I'm not that good of a golfer, but I played the course all the time. And everybody knows you play a course all the time. You don't have to be that good. And I could never break 80. I had 80. I would miss 2-foot putts for 79 because I was so nervous, right? But when you know a course that well, right now, John, I'll go out and I'll be praying to break 100, right? That's the kind of golfer that gives the viewers a little of what kind of golfer I am. But you got a pro like Phil Mickelson, who lives 15 minutes from a course that he knows probably better than any other. Well, even better than Augusta, I would say probably. So I agree. Whether lightning can strike twice, guess what? I'll throw 10 or 20 bucks on Phil to win. But mind you, you're not going to get 250 this time.
Yep. I love the Gooch bet, top 10, top 20 for sure. I mean, the odds are pretty steep, but he's going to win, but why not?
He was 9 to 1 for top 10. So I gave that actually out to my clients. I can say that because the card's gone now. But yeah, I gave him out top 10 to the clients. I think he's going to have a good weekend. You never know. He's going to come through sooner than later, let's just say. But it's tough on that. It's tough, John. You know PGA better than I do, and it's tough on that tour. It's tough to win. I don't care.
I talk to pretty smart guys, so maybe that's the reason why. Like Nick Foreman over at Wager Talk, he's on my show, and we do a show every week. And he was on Manny's Pub with his his best bets for the tournament yesterday on Wednesday, and he's on every Wednesday. So write that down too, guys. I mean. That's some brilliant
Nick have?
advice.
I didn't watch the show yesterday. What did Nick have as his best bets? Just out of curiosity. I know it's off topic.
I was just paging through my notes here, and for some reason I cannot find it. And I don't want to say somebody that wasn't on his list.
It's good. I was just curious when you said he was on the show yesterday. That's all.
Yeah. But we can, yeah, after the show, and this gets loaded up, I can retweet the show with his picks to support the show.
That's a
So,
good idea. Sure.
yeah. Like I had to say this, tongue in cheek, but I want to make a serious statement with it too. I did bet Phil Mickelson at Kiowa. I bet him Sunday morning. And the reason I bet him was, of course, I mean, he's the bet with your heart bet of all time in the PGA Tour for most of us guys, especially the ones that are in our age group. We're both about 38 years old.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I think everybody understands that part of it, but everybody in the world was betting Koepka. And again, the sentiment was overwhelming whereas Koepka was plus, he was only like minus 120. And then I saw Phil at BetMGM at 280, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm getting Phil Mickelson with a one-shot lead, 5-time major champion, and I'm getting almost 3-1, which I didn't. By the time I got the bet in, it was 3-1.
Nice.
And, as much as that initially you think, well, Koepka, he's got that eye of the tiger mentality, the stats up to and through round 3, Phil Mickelson was the best golfer in that tournament. Right. Hands down. He led the field in birdies with 17. And I just was kind of like, wow, maybe this is like a gift.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be.
Yes,
but
it turned out very nice.
I got very lucky with Jason Kokrak last week. I'll be the first
to admit
it. Yeah. I mean, I thought Spieth was going to take him out, but I had him win top 10, top 20. And again, pizza money. It's not like you're sitting there thinking you're going to win 10 grand.
Oh no! In golf, it's got to.
Right.
You're not going to be. Yeah, it's so volatile. I don't have to tell you. It's So.
But I was surprised. He really hung in there, and I mean, he's a name that's going to surface. I'm sure on my models with Torrey Pines. Yeah. But this course at Memorial, they actually revamped it, and the leader right now is Adam Long at 5 under. Believe it or not.
Really? 5 under? Wow.
But he has the gauntlet coming up. He's through 14, so he's 15, 16, 17, and 18 to navigate yet. The scores tell me there's no wind. And Colin Morikawa, he's playing well.
That makes perfect sense. He's a winner at that course.
Yep. And he's 5 under through 13, but he played the back 9 first, so we could actually see maybe a 7.
7, ooh, yeah.
Or maybe 8, but there's potential there that we could have a big opening round here. I would suspect that the wind will come up this afternoon. We'll have to see how.
I guess everything I said about these guys that are crushing this course has gone down the wire.
No, not at all, because this is the morning round, as you know, Buster. I mean, it's the guys that get out early on a Thursday. Sometimes that's the best time to play. You're on fresh greens. It's quiet. There's maybe not as many. Much crowd and gallery out there.
No, exactly. I had my guy Corey Connors the one time.
Yeah.
He had that big lead going in, and the Friday was not so good, and that was that. But first day leads don't mean too much usually. That's for sure.
No, and it drops off pretty quick. I mean, it's the other guys here. I said the 2 guys that are tied at -5, and Bo Hogue is 4. Shane Lowry, Schauffele, Nick Taylor, John Rahm, who's the favorite.
John Rahm, he's a favorite, yeah.
And a name I love seeing back on the leaderboard, Ricky Fowler.
My wife's a big Ricky Fowler fan. She always thought who's that guy wearing all those funky clothes? And he's wearing orange on a Sunday, really? So.
Yeah, he's. It's good to see him back, because he was really not doing well at all. I mean, he was missing cut after cut after cut, and just wondered what has he done, or what the heck's going on. And then on Sunday at Kiowa, at one point he was on the front page of the leaderboard, tied for 3rd. I think he ended up T5. Yeah. And now he's sitting here. He's tied with Rahm at -3 through 12.
Nice. Well, he's one of those guys, John, as you know, as he's in that conversation of best player that's never won a major. There's lots of them, but he might go down like that, but he's still young. So there's still lots of golf left in Ricky if he gets it turned around, because he can be really good, especially once they get over to he's very good in the wind. Very good in the wind. So you might see him one day winning somewhere over the British Open. You never know.
The interesting cast of characters this afternoon is DeChambeau, Spieth, and Cantley, or a threesome.
Oh, is that one of their featured on PGA Tour there? Okay.
Yep. And I don't think there's going to be much dialogue among that group.
No.
Yeah, I think Cantley will just stay out of the way and do his thing. And
yeah,
you know what Brooks said about DeChambeau. So,
and it's interesting because from what I understand, Brooks is kind of in that same boat. So I'm not sure how well liked he is by the guys, because he kind of keeps to himself. I don't know. You see what you read, which a lot of times that's bullshit too, right? So you don't really know. A guy like you, when you have that David Purnham, I believe his name is, the golf guy, Behrman, sorry, the ESPN guy. I know he's a friend of yours. He's a guy that I'm sure tells you a lot of information on the inside stuff that's going on, what's really going on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. I mean, PGA Tour, I guess unlike some of the other leagues, do such a great job of having their players conduct themselves off the course, where they don't have those headline news events, whatever it may be, unfortunately. But fortunately for the PGA, they run a really clean ship.
Yes, yeah. I was very impressed with what they did with COVID too. How guys, they had the test and okay, you got it, boom. They weren't trying to sneak something in or whatever. Like they even their major players, like, oh, you know what, you got COVID, even though you don't know you have it or you're feeling good and you tested positive, so you can't play this weekend. Which I think a lot of people will give them respect for that too, John.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we got into this topic, was that when they had COVID, the tournament would happen, but they were not allowed to play, and they did not get paid.
Right.
And that's the big difference between the PGA Tour and every other league. And I get it that you cannot have NFL players getting paid on a per game basis, because that would be insanity.
Right.
But to a point, where our story with the 10-year-old boy and his dad go to see a baseball game, and the stud is not playing. If he's hurt, that's one thing. But if it's because of rest,
sure.
Jordan never took rest.
No.
Can you imagine? I always tease Tony Finn and Rob Vino about this. Imagine a head coach telling Michael Jordan or Kobe or some of the other greats back in that era that there's a new term now, we call it load management, and yours is too high, and we're going to sit you tonight.
Yeah, I actually believe I read somewhere years ago that Kobe was the one that they tried that stuff with him years ago, and he actually said that's not happening, just for exactly what we just talked about, because there might be that kid that saved all his money to see Kobe Bryant play, and I'm playing. And he said that. I believe I actually read that. I might be wrong, but I thought that he said that maybe 10 years ago or something. It was a long time back, but I remember that was along the premise, and I'm sure there's a few other guys that had that same belief, right? So.
Yep. And maybe, hopefully my hope is that we'll get away from that load management. I get it that we had COVID. We had the extended season that went into, I guess, almost December. Not much time off before they started the current season. And now we're running about a month overtime versus a regular season. So maybe when we get back to normal come this November, we can get away from this load management a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. But like I said, the Pop started that a few years ago, and I probably would think analytically. Like, I'm not a big analytic guy. You said you and Rob Vino, and I know Chris is from Wager Talk, but analytically, maybe that's the way to go, and maybe that's why it'll be here to stay, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you just bob and weave, but 5:30 on Manny's Pub Show, Rob Vino would get the injury report. And even sometimes those weren't accurate, because a guy would be listed as out, and all of a sudden you'd see the tip, and the guy's on the floor.
Yeah.
So it just made it really tough. And chasing injuries was probably the worst bet anybody could make this whole NBA season. just did not work.
Yeah. For me, John, I'm a number guy and situation guy with the NBA anyway. So, I'd be playing that team that came off the 6-game road trip, first game home going against them with the number. Like, I'm more situational, always have been. Again, was taught at a very young age about rest and momentum and stuff like that. And that's why I kind of like the Islanders in that first period tonight, because I think they're going to come on top, because Boston probably might be. I'll argue to say they might be the better team. They have the best line probably in hockey, but that doesn't always win games. So
no, it doesn't.
But anyways, it's NBA's always been that way with the injuries, because it's so important when you have one superstar. It means so much to a team, and like I say, for your sake, hopefully Philadelphia will get Embiid back, and it'll make the NBA playoffs better with him in the game.
Oh, no question. So before we end the show here, I want you to be able to tell people where they can find you, anything else you want to mention, if you're running a promotion for any subscriptions, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, you can find me at Don_Buster on Twitter. And I'm not a big Twitter guy on there. I will put my free plays out. I'll put out my packages that we have sometimes. Tonight I have a 5% play in the NHL. So I'll be tweeting that out. We're doing pretty good in NHL, and 5%ers in general. We've always done well, but we're 4-1-1 in our last 6 5% NHL plays. We really like this one tonight, and we'll see what happens, of course. Besides that, I just want to thank you for having me on here, John. I see that we've run way too long, so I guess maybe next Thursday we'll try to shorten it up a little bit, but hopefully good. And I want to wish everybody all the best with all their games tonight. Actually, another quick little play. I was looking. I seen Portland's up to 5 tonight. To me, that seems like a little bit too much after them playing that big, long game, double overtime. I don't know. I might have a small play for my clients out on Denver +5 if it's still there. I'm not sure, but that just seems like too many points to me. But anyways,
I'm with you on that.
Just another little free play out there. But you can actually go to Sports Memo, hit the free play button, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of free plays from all of us guys. John, yourself, I know, and all the Sports Memo handicappers put out free plays every day for the most part. Like, I think I put up 3 or 4 a week, guys, but there's always lots of plays there for free, and they give a little analysis. So for the guys that are learning this, it's what I've been trying to do is just try, if I can make somebody a better gambler, that's fine. Because believe me, I wish I had this kind of help when I was 22, 23 years old. That's for sure.
I can't agree more. It's so true. These shows are focused, and they're powered by Way You're Talking Sports Memo, by the way, to drive that kind of theme into the shows, to provide some education along with free picks. There's so many shows out there that have free picks that are, they have no substance to them. And we try to do it where you're actually getting a pick that we're going to the window with, that we really believe in. So that's the biggest difference, really.
That we bet ourselves. That's the difference. Yep. That we bet our money on ourselves. That's what that's a huge difference from what I understand in this business now. I didn't realize that. I just assumed that you put no plays, you're betting plays. That's what you do, right? But that's what I've done all my life is gamble. But not all my life, but since about 18. So, but one other thing, John. Now that we've went way over time,
that's all right.
I just want to wish you luck with everything. You're doing a great job. You're out there on every avenue doing all this stuff. And I tell you, come NFL football, college football, there's gonna be a lot of people coming to watch John Ryan Sports and all his guests or people or your Manny's Pub, because the information is going to be great and you're going to be a much watch. I know you're just getting this stuff going, but you're doing a great job. And I'm not just saying that because you had me on here. That's the truth. You guys are doing a great job, and continued success, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it very much. It means a lot to me, Buster. It really does. And one day at a time. And last year, football's been a good sport for me. 65% last year at Sports Memo is number 1. So, I say that
Excellent.
humbly because the betting guides, I don't want them ever to hear me bragging because they don't like it, and then bad things happen.
Exactly.
So we keep that
Uh,
humble and keep it to ourselves. But when the time is right, then we can promote that as well.
yeah.
So, Buster, thanks for being on the show. And for the sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, and the series of predictive playbook shows, may all the wins be yours.
Cheers.